Hi.
Hi.
We just want to thank you for choosing us, and I'd like you to meet John. This is his beautiful 2021 Four Winds RV, and he's going to tell us all about it.
Hi everyone, I'm John, I own the RV. I want to walk you through the process on how to use the systems, starting from when you first arrive at camp. So, as soon as you get to your spot and you're in your space, first thing you want to do is go to this side. Okay. And you want to check and make sure that you have enough room between the power pole and the side of the RV for the slide to come out. The slide comes out 18 inches. It's not that far. It comes out about this far. But that's how much room you need. Otherwise you could hit the pole and that could damage the slide. So once you make sure that you're in the right place, come back around, set your emergency brake and leave the engine on. You're going to level the RV. That's the very first thing that you're going to do. So once you are in your spot, you left the engine running and the emergency brake is completely pressed all the way to the floor. You turn on the auto leveling system. You push this button and hold it until you see the light come on. It says ready, jacks up. If you just tap it, it won't come on, or you can throw it into a reset mode. So you just hold it until you see the light come on. Once you've done that, you hit auto level. Now, if you're in a very uneven surface, we have over here leveling blocks that you can place under the jacks, and that will give you a little bit more room. You don't want to fully extend the jacks if you can help it. So this will help kind of close that gap. Once you have done what you need to do there, you hit auto level, and it'll say auto level grounding jacks. Remain still, and then the jacks will start to come down one at a time, and we will go through these leveling process. If the front end of the vehicle lifts off the ground, it is okay. The suspension is designed for this, and it is routinely with the front tires lifted off the ground. The back wheels, however, try very hard not to have that come off the ground, because that's what's holding the vehicle in place, and your emergency brake. So it's usually the front end that comes up. So once this gets leveled, I'll show you what to do next. Now that it says success, you're good, and it'll go back to the original part. It says level, jacks down, and then you can just push the button and turn it off. And now the jacks are down. You can turn off the engine, and we'll open up the slide. The slide will not open up if the engine is on. Once you have it leveled, and it is imperative that you do not open the slide before it's leveled. The slide motors, this is a really big slide, and the slide motors are kind of weak. So if it's not level at all, it could overtax the motors and it could break. So please don't do that. Do not put the slide out until it's level. So now you're level. You hit slide extend right here. And you see the slide will go out. And now you have access to the bunks and to the bedroom without having to go through the bathroom. And you're just going to hold this down until it stops. It will stop on its own. Done. In order to operate the couches, this couch and the Dream Dinette are both sleeping surfaces if you need them to be. I wouldn't recommend adults sleep on them just because they're a little small, but they're great for kids. So to use the sofa, it's really easy. This is how easy. Sofa. If your feet are a little long, these can come out. As a side note, if the passenger wants to recline their seat while you're driving, in order to keep undue pressure from pushing the sofa, we usually travel with this armrest up here. That way the passenger seat can lay back a little bit further. Which, if you're going to be on the road for 3 or 4 hours, you want to be comfortable. To put it back, you just do the exact same motion but reverse. Lift up and push. And you're good. For the Dream Dinette, it's a little bit different. There's a lever on the bottom here that you disconnect by pushing it to the left, and then you just push the table down. Once the table is firmly seated, the cushions come together and they make the bed. When it's done, you just reverse it, hear the click, table's in place. So operation of the sink is pretty normal. It's a standard sink. It's going to work just like the sink at your home, except it doesn't have a garbage disposal. Please do not put any food, waste, anything other than soapy water down the drain. Sometimes there's I don't even know what it's called, but there's a cap located underneath the counter all the way back here that when it closes, it prevents the drain from draining all the way.
Oh, it's a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap. So what you have to do is, if you see that the drain is not draining, it doesn't mean that the drain is clogged. It means that the cap just needs to be unscrewed. If you reach all the way to the back and you just twist it, lift it up, and it'll unscrew, and you'll see your water will drain. We usually, and just the act of driving screws that thing down. So that's just something to think about. Again, you don't have a clogged drain. When I bought it, I thought there was grease in the trap, and there wasn't. It was just that. Coming over here, you have 2 propane burners and 1 induction burner, 1 induction range. An induction range means that there's no heat and there's no flame. But you have to have metal that is magnetic or reacts to magnets for it to heat up. So that's cast iron, carbon steel, stainless steel, anything like that. Aluminum isn't going to work. So if you put an aluminum pan on here and you're trying to figure out why it's not sauteing anything, it's because it's aluminum and it's not working. You'll have to, if that's the only thing you have, you'll have to use the burners. There's also a Coleman stove in one of the storage compartments that is yours to use with the green Coleman propane tanks. Do not use that inside the unit. This is the fridge. So the fridge is in the on position right now, and it's on auto. If I put it on, and right now it's running because the generator's running, so it's running on electricity. But if when you're underway and you don't have the generator on, as long as you keep it on auto, it'll automatically move over to propane, and it will keep your food cold. It is important to know this about these fridges. They do not make food cold. They keep food cold. If you put a bunch of really warm groceries into the fridge and then hope that it turns on, it will think it's on fire and shut off, and it will have to be reset. So don't do that. Put cold food into the cold fridge and you'll be fine. On the inside, there's lots of room for drinks. You have 2 drawers down there. These are the cooling fins. Try not to put anything up here if you can help it, because this is the coldest part of the entire fridge, and it has made things freeze if they're too close to it. So we try not to put eggs, because eggs will freeze really easily. Milk, stuff like that doesn't go up here. You know, stuff that you put vegetables and things like that, that'll be fine. But that's how that works. What else? Oh, let's move on to the bathroom. So this is the head, or the bathroom, I guess if we're not on the boat. The toilet is a full ceramic residential style toilet, so it should be very similar to what you're used to at your house. Something that you might not be used to at your house, but we are used to at ours, and we really wanted to have that in our RV, is a bidet. Bidet is 2 things. Number 1, it helps with just cleanliness, but the other thing that it helps with is it helps cut down on toilet paper waste. If you use the bidet correctly, all you should really need to be doing is pat drying. Everything else will be clean. The way you use the bidet is this first dial right here. You want to turn it very slowly, and you don't do it unless you're sitting on the toilet, because it will shoot water. But if you turn it very slow, if you turn it too fast, you could end up injured, because it is a very, very solid stream of water that comes out, and if it's turned on too fast, you'll realize immediately that you made a mistake. Again, no feminine products, no flushable wipes, nothing except toilet paper and human waste. That's it. Nothing else, because you can clog this so fast. Yes, RV toilet paper only. Use only the RV toilet paper that was supplied by the folks here at the rental place. Over here, the shower. There's a little sign on it that says confirm latch prior to driving. That's this. And the reason is that these are glass. And if they move while you're driving, they can shatter. So this, it's very important that this is locked down. Now this has a tankless water heater, which means you can stay in the water in the shower for as long as you want. And in fact, I would encourage you to never turn off the hot water as you're showering, because it will turn off the water heater. If you have to keep the stream going, because the water heater is activated by the water pressure. So as it's going through the heater, it warms up. We've changed the shower head up so it has a low water pressure shower head. So even if there's low water pressure, you'll be able to take a good shower. We usually find that the best way to do it is to turn on the hot water, let it get hot, and then make adjustments on the cold water to find the right temperature for you. If, while you're showering, you start to find yourself standing in a pool of water, that means the tanks need to be dumped. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. One of the changes or improvements that we made to this RV is the way we dump the tanks. Normal dump tanks have levers that you have to pull out down underneath the slide, and I have a bad back and I didn't want to do that, so I had automatic dump actuators installed here so that they can be done inside when you're warm or cool or whatever, and you don't have to go and bend down. So the way that works is you see those right there. That is what they are. And they should be dumped in this order: black, and then gray. And you wait for the black tank to be completely dumped, and then you dump the gray. And the reason for that is that the black tank is everything that goes in the toilet. The gray water is everything that comes out of the sinks and through the shower. And when you run the gray water through the hose after you've run the black, it just cleans it and it keeps things from smelling, and it's nice. So you'll see that these have little red lights on each one of them. Those red lights will turn on and start to flash when the tank is open. That's if you've opened it. And you open it by pushing the back part of the button, not the front part. The back part is what opens it, the front part is what closes it. You hold the button down for a count of 5 in each direction, and then that way you know that it's either fully closed or fully open. When you're done with both, close both of them. You should not just leave them open. And the reason that you don't just leave them open is, well, in the black tank, you can get a buildup that is very hard to take care of if there isn't water that's staying in there. So solid matter will stay, water will drain out, and you end up getting just a huge brick down there, and it's no fun. It has to be taken care of. The other reason is that these are, if you keep them closed, bugs and things can't come in and infiltrate the tanks. So always make sure these are closed unless you're dumping, and then once you're done, you close them back up. Okay, so most of the compartments have some labels on them. If not, they're just general storage. But this one you might need, because if you're out there using the range or going through a lot of hot water, you're going to go through your propane. This is where the propane tank is, and the fill for that is right there. Okay. So walking around to the back, the gas door is on the passenger side. Even though it says on the dashboard that it's on the driver's side, it's not. It's on this side, and there's a sticker on the dashboard that says it's on this side as well. But this is where the gas is. Unleaded fuel, it doesn't need to be premium or mid-level. It can be the 87 octane or whatever.
But no ethanol.
No ethanol. No ethanol at all. If you're going to be boondocking and you need to fill your water tank, this is the water fill for the main water tank, and it'll hold 40 gallons of water. And the way you know that it's full is it'll start to spill out, and that's fine. It's designed for that. This is the main storage unit. This has this. You can put an unbelievable amount of stuff in here if you need to. Push forward when you're using locking and unlocking, otherwise you could break the key. In here, we've included some. There's some lights. You can use those. Some games. There's a table and an easy up. This side is where most of the utilities are. So if you're going to access something like the sewer or where the hoses and the cables are, those are all here. In here, this is the main power cord. It's a 30 amp cord. This end plugs into the power pole, and only use it with this yellow piece on it. This is a surge protector. And this end plugs in right here. And you just plug it in, and then you twist the whatever this is, the neck collar, and that will secure it in place, and you should be fine. If you're running the generator, because you need air conditioning in the back or something, turn off the generator before you plug in the shore power. If you run both of them at the same time, it'll overload the system, pop the breakers, you could disable the RV. Please don't do that. If you're really far away from your power pole, there's an extension that adds another 25 feet. The first thing I normally set up, and I do all of this before we put out the slide because it's just easier to do, is the sewer. So right here, you'll see some gloves. You're going to want to use these. You can pretend you're a surgeon for a while. The back here is where the pipe is, where the sewer hose is stored. You just take this out, put it right there, and don't move it, because that way it'll be where you left it. And you don't want to drive down the road with this thing open, because these will come out and they're expensive to replace. So this is the storage. This expands, I think, to 20 feet. Under here, there's the cap. You remove the cap, and this part just goes right on, and you twist it until it clicks. That way you know it's secure. Otherwise you could leak, and you don't want it to leak. Nobody in the RV park will like you if your sewer hose is leaking. I promise you. That's how you want to see it connected. Exactly.
All 4 prongs on or else.
Right, exactly. And you take this end and you do the same thing. This twists in place. This is a little harder to get on, but trust me, it's worth it. And then it's, when it's fully seated, when these are fully seated. And then this part goes into whatever the sewer hole is. There's a couple tools that you're gonna need. Number one is this accordion looking thing. Bigger to smaller. You want to support the hose when it's in a gradual decline, going down. Okay, and that just will help everything drain a lot easier. Now there's 2 types of sewer holes that you're going to connect this to. One of them stands up on top of the ground. It could be 2 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches. I've seen them all different lengths. But the problem with all of them is that it's almost impossible to get your sewer to connect securely to that. And then you have to have some kid come out and put their foot on it while the dump, whatever. So I've found a couple solutions. The first solution is this.
Dump buddy.
It's a dump buddy. And this works like this. This part, the round part, goes around the pipe, the sewer pipe in the ground. So it would go like that. And then you tighten that up by turning the dial. And then this part slides and goes over the top, and you tighten that part up.
Locks it down.
And that locks it down. So now your sewer hose won't come out when you dump, because you're not going to be out here. You're going to be inside. You won't be able to see it. So you won't know if you're showering the park. Always make sure that that is secure. The second one is an in-ground or flush to the ground, where you just stick the hole in. Those are usually pretty fail-safe, but I still like to be a little bit more. I don't want to be that guy that everyone hates at the park. So when that goes in, you lay this down on top, and then those will just lay on the ground, and these weigh about 10 pounds together, and that holds it right in place. They can't come out. So after you've hooked up your sewer, you're gonna hook up your water. This is the city water connection. So what you want to do, this is a brand new filter, and you take this filter, put that in there, and then this end screws into the water source. So that's the spigot. This end, please do not remove this. This is a pressure gauge. It also prevents the system from being overpressured. RV parks typically have way too high a water pressure, and if the water pressure is too high, it could put undue strain on the fittings inside and damage them. So this protects that from happening. So you just take this, put that in there, and then turn this around it. And there you go. And this is going to be a little loose. It won't be loose you won't be able to tighten it anymore, but it'll wobble a little bit on the side. It's fine. It's supposed to do that. Once that's done, turn off the water pump inside at the main control panel. Turn on the water. The hose will unkink itself, and you probably want to just kick as much of it under the RV as possible so it keeps the sun off of it. Otherwise, it could be a little hot. So you kick as much of the hose under the RV as you can, and that's it. And then put out the slide. So it's very important that once you are all set up, that you leave this open. And the reason for that is that when you open the dump, this will come out past this line, and it'll hit this, and it won't open all the way. So if you don't leave this open, then you won't be able to dump your black tank. It'll be very frustrating. So when you're breaking it down, this is a little in reverse. After everything, making sure that the tanks are closed, this hose is what you use to clean everything with. Okay, so you disconnect your water, reconnect this hose to the water spigot, and in order to make sure that the tanks are really clean, this has a sani flush feature right here, where you take this and you attach this end to the spigot, and you attach this end to the sani flush, and then you turn it on, and you fill the black tank all the way full, and then you can dump it, and that cleans the tank perfectly. I usually do it about 2 times before we leave a campsite, just to make sure that the black tank is nice and clean. Once the tank is clean, and you know that they're closed, unhook from the sani flush, and sometimes a little bit of water runs out. That's fine. That's not from the tank. You don't have to worry about that.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when you do the sani flush,
Yeah.
and you said fill it up, how do you know when it's full?
From the sensor.
From the sensor inside.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
have somebody inside, usually opening that window, and I say, "Is it full yet?" And they say, "Yeah, it's full." I say, "Okay, dump it," and you can see everything come out.
Excellent. Thank you.
And you do that until the water runs clean
Excellent.
and clear.
Okay. Perfect.
And then once that's done, you make sure everything's closed. You go ahead and disconnect, and then you take the end the water comes out of, turn off the water first, stick that in like that, and then turn the water back on, and really give the pipe a really good rinse. Okay? And then once all the water is coming out of the end clear, you can see through the elbow that it's clear. Take that, turn off the water. Disconnect this. That sometimes can get pretty tight, so just work at it. seat back. If for some reason the hose has moved way too far, both ends open the same way. Also, each one of these compartments has a light inside. So make sure that when you're putting stuff away, you're not inadvertently turning the light on, because that will drain your battery. This goes right here. This is deep and wide, so you can put some pretty big things in there. This has the hose in it. This is an outdoor shower. So you can just, if you're at the beach or wherever you're at, and you want to just really shower yourself off before you come inside, say you're at a music festival and you're covered with dirt, rinse yourself off here first. And this is your generator. The generator can power everything in the entire RV. So putting out the awning depends on the size of your space. The spot we were in last night, there was no space for an awning to go out. It was just like a parking lot. But you're in a spot that has lots of room, and you have a place to eat and stuff out here, you might want to put out the awning. The awning also keeps your refrigerator, which is right here, keeps the sun directly off of it, so it keeps your food a lot colder. The refrigerator doesn't have to work so hard. It's important to know that the awning has about a 10 mile per hour wind rating. Anything more than 10, 12 miles an hour, you could risk damaging the awning. So before you put the awning out, check the weather, make sure that the wind is not gonna, and if you ever leave, put the awning in, and put the awning in before you go to bed. But the awning button is right down here. It says awning on it. Right there. Push the top one to go out.
Put it back in. Put it back in.
Yeah. All right, just pull on it. So, there you go. Sometimes that sticks, so just pull on it, and then from there it goes fine. Now, it's important that you don't extend it beyond a certain point, and I'll show you where that point is. And when you roll it back up, you always roll it back the same way, like a roll of toilet paper. That's as far as you want to extend it. So you don't want this going out any further than right there, like a waterfall. Okay? To protect against wind or rain or whatever, these can be manually pulled down. Right here to adjust the pitch, you just pull down on it, and that brings the pitch down. That enables it to withstand a little bit more wind pressure than it would be if it was straight out, and will also sheet water a lot better, so if it's raining or something, it doesn't form a puddle. If it's raining a lot, bring it in. Otherwise the water will tear it down.
Yeah. Okay. They're expensive.
They are very expensive. And then you don't have to adjust these back up when you bring it back in. They will just automatically go back fine.
Nice.
So when you bring it back in, you push the bottom, and you see how it's retracting? Watch how it's retracting. See how it's pulling back? It's rolling up the way it came.
Yes.
It's important that it's done this way. If it's done the other way, it can hold water on the inside, and it can also come unrolled a lot easier when you're driving. So this is by far the more secure way to roll it back up. And then there is the middle, there's 3 buttons above the awning. The first one is the interior lights. The second one is the LED light for the awning. And the third one is the step light right here. It illuminates the step, right under the step.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you can see what's going on. And then this step light right here is the interior steps. You see this right here? And it also lights up the step inside so you don't trip and fall.
Nice.
Taking down the jacks, when you're getting ready to leave, you go ahead and you hit retract. And you hold it down. And it says auto retract all jacks, and you'll see the RV will move suddenly. And it will keep doing it, so you'll hear it. And you hear it start to make that whine. And then it says ready, jacks up. And then you just push the button, turn it off.
TV. So you're using the remote.
Yeah, so you use this little remote right here.
Okay.
And you just kind of follow the prompts. Now this remote will change the channel for both this TV and that TV back there. They both are on the same channel, so you can't watch one channel on this TV and a different channel in the back TV. It's the same channel. So this process can take a minute. If you've hooked up to power first while you're doing all the rest of the things, by the time you get to turning on the TV, it should all be working.
So this is for the local stations?
I don't believe so. I think it's just cable, basic cable channels.
Okay.
It doesn't get local stations, but because of where it is, you have to figure out which latitude you're on. That's where it tells it where to look.
Because it's satellite?
Yeah, because it's satellite and it's looking. You can always hook up the cable. That connection is back there by the electrical connection. A lot of parks offer some cable. None of it's really very good. That's why we chose to get satellite TV. You need to have either the generator on or you need to have hooked up to shore power. Otherwise, this won't work. So once you've done the channel check and you've had a clear line of sight,
You haven't heard anything.
you'll know if it doesn't have a clear line of sight because you'll hear the satellite dish spinning around up there. That means if it keeps doing that for more than 3 or 4 minutes, you're not going to get it. You're in a site that doesn't have access. I'm sorry. Once it's found the satellite, it acquires the signal. This could take some time, but once that's done, you'll see some Dish Network people talk about how great Dish Network is, and from there you'll be able to channel up and down, and about 5 to 10 minutes after that, you'll have downloaded data, and you'll be able to use the guide and search for programs
On
at
the
that
remote.
point on the remote.
On the remote.
So this is an aftermarket radio that I put in. This radio will not turn off with the car. It runs on the house batteries. So if you park for any length of time and you need to turn the radio off, you got to hold the home button down until it turns off. Otherwise the radio will stay on and it will continue to draw on the battery, which you don't want. This is an iPhone power cord. This is mine. I'm taking it with me. If you have an iPhone charger, it should work. It plugs right into here. There we go. I had to unlock my phone. So this is Apple CarPlay. That's everything you need.
So when you just want to have music?
So if you just want to have music, if you just want to listen to the radio,
Okay.
and you can scan.
Your stations.
Okay. If you want to do the backup camera, this can happen. You can at any time. You turn on the backup camera. To get away from the backup camera, you hit home. It goes back to the main screen here.
So the camera also comes on when you put it in reverse.
When you put it in reverse, camera, and then it turns back off.
And when you make your left and your right.
When you make
turn
your left
signal.
and right turn signals, it also does the same thing.
Excellent. Does the stereo have to be on for it to?
No.
Okay.
No, stereo can be completely off, and you use any of your backup cameras or your side view cameras, they will turn on automatically. It overrides the on-off.
Okay.
Okay, and you can hook it up Bluetooth as well as a hard connect as well.
Okay. Is there a
Even
code
though
on
there's
the
a
Bluetooth?
Sirius XM, I don't have a satellite dish antenna on this or a
Okay.
satellite radio antenna, so that is not going to do
Do you
anything.
need a code for the Bluetooth when you sync up your phone or anything?
It'll give you one. It'll issue you one. It's not a
Okay, so you don't have to put.
it's not a standard
manually
code.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is about it.
And if you have an Android?
If you have an Android, I assume that Android knows how to make it work. I don't have an Android. I've never used an Android phone, so.
But I mean.
But
can
it
you-
should work for an Android phone.
Okay, is there a separate place for it to
No,
plug it in?
they all go into the same place.
Okay.
So, on this RV, we've disconnected the furnace. And the reason we've disconnected the furnace is because it's incredibly loud. And it's right underneath the fridge, or I'm sorry, it's underneath the fridge, which is pretty close to the bedroom. And it just sounds like a plane taking off whenever it turns on, it wakes you up. So what we've found is the best way to do it is just use space heaters. So we have 2 of them come with the RV. There's this one, standard plug-in If it tips over, it turns off. It's got a little safety switch right here. Lay it like that, turn it on. This will heat up things really quick. We have another one that's behind the bed against the very back wall. That's where it travels because it's on wheels, and it will roll around and create all sorts of noise and bang into things if you don't put it back there. But that one, we stick right here, plug it into a power strip that's underneath the table, and turn it on, and it creates a nice, warm, cozy environment. And it's not loud, it's absolutely silent, and we just found that's a much better way to stay warm at night than using the furnace. The last thing is we would very much love to know where you took the RV, how you enjoyed it, if there's anything that you had ideas about, but mostly this is one of our favorite things to do is camp and travel in our RV, and the fact that we can share it with you guys while we're not using it just makes it even better. And maybe if we can live a little vicariously through you, if you could please fill out the guest book, put down where you stayed, how long you stayed in it, that kind of information, that's absolutely would be priceless to us. I really appreciate that. And then can you grab those two notebooks? One more thing is we have a couple cookbooks that really, especially if you have kids, some of the dessert options in here that you can cook around a fire, absolutely great. They're going to make great memories. They've made great memories for our kids, and I'm sure that you'll have a great time with yours. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the Juge ship.